Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast somehow more likely to fail than the current Cardinals starting rotation. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hey, Nate H., how you doing?
Good. Now, we're recording this on Tuesday, so, maybe something will happen, in the next 24 hours before this releases, and my joke will be less good. But we all know that's probably not the case.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are this week going to be talking about the remaining free agents, the trade market, and we're going to touch on the other moves that have happened around the league. If you have an idea for the opening bit, tweet us at Talk About Birds. Ben, despite the fact that barely anything has happened in the last week, we've got so much to talk about. We've always got plenty to talk about.
It's a full show.
It's a full show.
I know. It's stupid, but yeah, we got a full show for you.
We got a full show for you, so don't you worry. First of all, happy holidays.
Thank you.
Ben, how you feeling? You feeling good about the holidays?
Oh, Nate, I'm up to my eyeballs with Christmas cheer and I don't know what other things that happened this time. I'm beyond excited.
The ham is roasting.
Oh, I
holiday
can smell
ham
it from here. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, this is my time of year. This is when I come alive. This is when I am myself, my the best version of me. So yeah, I'm ripping and roaring and ready to go.
Running down shopping aisles, scooping things into carts, looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way, fighting over toys. But they're just for you.
Get a Turbo Man. I am actually what? You didn't like that?
No, it's fine. Just keep going.
For being a bit of a Scrooge or a Grinch or whatever, I am one of those people that likes to get my Christmas shopping done like in November. I don't like shopping. So it's just more things that I don't like, I guess. And I'm trying to avoid
fun.
them.
It went really well with Thanksgiving when I asked you, how do you feel about Thanksgiving? And you just ranted about how much you don't like it for 5 minutes. So let's do it. Let's rerun the tape, but for Christmas.
No, you know what? We're recording on Tuesday because I'm flying out Wednesday evening. I'm coming back home to St. Louis, so I get to see my friends and family. I like that. That's good. And
yeah, we had a question in the Bird Scored, any like family traditions for Christmas. And we actually don't talk about it a lot on the show. For anyone who's a newer listener, Ben and I are actually cousins. We basically had like identical childhoods. So
45 minutes away from each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of our Christmas traditions are basically the exact same, and none of them particularly exciting or unique. I do think coming to a Christmas party with our families is basically entering into the roast zone, which I think is one thing that is unique, not necessarily unique, but it is a tradition to our family, which is if you say or do anything slightly stupid, you will be roasted for the rest of the night. So I think that dynamic has carried into our regular lives and is sort of the cornerstone of this podcast as well. But more currently, our tradition, I think, that I actually care about is that you and Mary come and stay with us for the Christmas holiday, which is a ton of fun.
Yeah, we kind of set up camp in your little guest bedroom up there and kind of take over part of the house, and you guys let us. And every time I arrive in St. Louis, Nate and Molly have fresh, ice cold beers waiting for us, and usually is it a Dogtown pizza? Is that the brand?
Yeah. I have to tell you, we've got the beers, not the pizza, but that's because I'm making pizza this time.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, it was
I'm okay with that. Yeah. I mean, it's great. We look forward to it. And, really, we get to see your adorable little girls. So that's mostly what it's about. And you guys happen to be there. But getting to see the kiddos is always a treat too, and
I
that's why
I
I
figured you were
love
talking
staying
about
there.
our cats. I figured you were talking about our cats.
I
So.
do. I love all four of the girls there. I do love to come over and I pet and poke and scream at
Mhm.
and steal toys and all that good stuff.
You, the listener, can figure out which one of those are cats and which one of those are kids. Yeah, so we've got we're recording on Tuesday, obviously Christmas holiday, all the holidays are happening, so we hope you out there um are having a great holiday season and recognizing the dedication. Most podcasts are going on break right now, and you know what?
Yeah,
We're still here. So
that's right.
and we've got all sorts of interesting content for you coming up. So a couple things we want to talk about. One, our next episode, we're doing something that we've never done before, but we're taking advantage of Ben and I being in the same place, which really only happens a couple times in the year at the
Yeah.
most. We're also taking advantage of the likely uh, snowstorm and deep ice that's coming into St. Louis,
Yeah.
and we're going to be watching a baseball movie, and we're going to talk about it in our next episode. And we wanted to let everyone know as quickly as possible because you may want to watch the movie as well. Although once we explain the movie, you may not want to. But we're going to watch the movie and we're going to spend some time next week talking about it. And so, Ben, why don't you give a little bit of detail about what we're
Sure.
watching?
So yeah, first I want to shout out Mortimer from the Bird Scored tweet. He
Mm-hmm.
shared an article in the Bird Scored that kind of got me on this. And one of the movies, it was so the article was these are the 7 weirdest baseball movies you will ever see. And the first one on that list is something called Battlefield Baseball. And I'm just going to read the author, this guy named Michael Clare, who sent this out last year. The first little paragraph to kind of get everyone set up for this movie says, I'm going to be blunt. If you care about things like character development or a plot that follows a linear path from beginning to end, this is probably not going to be the movie for you. However, if you're looking for a wild mashup of genres, from horror to martial arts to simply bizarre, then this is the movie for you. So I've watched the trailer. The trailer, you can look at our Twitter and you can find the trailer. The good news is the entire movie is for free on YouTube. So you don't have to go like rent something or download something. You just go put it on YouTube. Um, it appears to be, I think it's maybe based off a Japanese manga, and I think it's might be hyper violent. The screen cap that is on the article is of a baseball player who seems to be stumbling on a baseball field, and he has 8 baseball bats impaled through various parts of his body.
I
So
thought you were gonna say like in a bag or
nope.
you know like, but okay, all right.
No, they are
This is
stabbed through him.
wonderful.
And I will say, so I think this movie is going to be absolutely ridiculous. It came out in 2003. I think it is going to be over the top. I think it'll probably maybe not be for everyone, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And then, like I said, if you look at our Twitter, you can find the trailer and watch it for a minute and 30 seconds and see if it's your cup of tea. And if so, I think either way, it's going to be really fun to talk about and to watch this movie. I think we'll probably have a couple of adult beverages while we're watching this, and I don't know, sit back
Yeah.
and try to watch what's happening. But I don't know how much actual baseball is in this movie. It might
It's
be
in the
one of
name
those
though.
things. It is in the name, and it might be one of those things where like they're on a baseball field and they're using baseball equipment and that is all the baseball that's happening. But it's like an hour and a half. So I'm a sucker for an hour and a half movie. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna try this out. Hopefully it's fun for us and enjoyable for you all to either watch or listen to us talk about it. We're also talking about doing like actually good, credible baseball movies as well.
Yeah.
Um, so we've got some things on the list that we're gonna watch and talk about on the show to really get us through the off season. 100 days, Ben. 100 days until
Yeah.
opening day.
Yeah.
So
And I think pitchers and catchers report, I think we're under 70 days for that.
yeah,
I'll look that up. But yeah, I mean, it's baseball. Like we have shows to fill. There things are still dripping through the news wire. I don't know what the new.
I have a Telegram system
There we
set up
go.
in my house where it transcribes tweets for me.
That seems extremely unnecessary.
It's a lot
Silver
of work.
Dollar Nate over there, big money
Yeah.
boy over there. He can afford these kinds of things.
I am a
Um,
big money boy.
when this episode comes out, 64 days until pitchers and catchers.
All right. So
So we
a
got
couple
that.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look for that. We'd love for you to watch and sort of listen and play along with us on this little
Yeah.
journey. But we've got a lot of news to talk about. Before we do that, I've got a couple things. So first of all, tonight's episode, this is talking about birds after dark because we're
Yeah.
recording really late. I just
Yeah.
went through like a 2-hour thing that resulted in me smashing a sink with a hammer, not intentionally, but I got to buy a new sink tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Uh,
Not out of a fit of anger, by the way. I'm not that,
no.
but just circumstances led to me breaking a sink with a hammer.
If you all could see how mad he is even describing this right now, he is unhinged.
Dude, I mean, my shirt was ripped.
Look, he called me dude. You can tell he's off kilter. He just called me dude.
Ben, I want you to know I got my driver's license renewed, and it was a little bit of an ordeal, but I got it renewed, and I thought you'd appreciate this. I bring this up because the picture Molly described that she said I look like I just murdered someone and also fat. So I'm gonna show it to you.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So
You got a thick neck.
That's just for Ben, but there you go. All right. And then so Ben doesn't know anything about what I'm about to do. So I was at Walgreens the other day, a store that I don't really enjoy. But I have to go to from time to time because of the various services they provide. And I went to Walgreens to get my COVID booster,
Okay.
and I filled out all the paperwork. I signed everything, and I went and sat in a chair directly in front of them. And an hour later, I got up and I was like, "Hey, what's
Yeah.
hey, hi, I'm waiting for my COVID shot." And they're like, "Oh, we didn't know you were here." I'm like, what the fuck? It was like them sitting in eyesight of them,
Wow.
and I filled out all this stuff. But anyway,
Yeah. I'll
I
tell you, you have
was
more. I would have waited 5 minutes before I said something. I would not have been that zen about it.
I'm too
Good for you.
I'm too. It's a combination of polite and social
Yeah.
anxiety. So
Uh-huh.
it is what it is. But
Sure.
anyway, I was there the other day to pick up some photos, and I was looking in the
You were picking up photos?
we're yeah. I mean, it's 1997. I have to
Okay.
go and
All right.
no, we printed out photos of our daughter's kindergarten school
Yeah.
photo
We get
for
it. We get it. Yeah.
okay. So and I saw a thing on the shelf that I would never buy in real life, but we have a baseball podcast, so I thought I would get this.
All
I'm
right.
gonna hold it up to the camera. I'm gonna try to describe it. So it is a box that is about as wide as a pack of playing cards, but about
Yeah.
as thick as maybe 3 packs of playing cards
Sure. Yeah.
and as tall as 2 packs of playing cards. That's my unit of measurement for this. So
God.
it's about 6 inches tall
There we
and
go. Yeah.
2 inches wide and 2 inches deep.
Okay.
And it just says baseball collector's edge on it. And it
Oh.
has a like silhouette of a man at the plate,
Yeah.
right? On the front of it, it says 1 in 8 contain a hit. Look for randomly inserted cards, packs, parallels, autographs, and more. On the back, it tells you
Okay.
that basically this, from what I can tell, is that they have basically like created mystery packs of baseball stuff. Yeah.
What?
And it was $4.99.
Hey,
And
that's a deal.
I mean, they're practically giving it away, especially if 1 in 8 contain a hit.
Yeah.
Which, what is contain a hit?
Yeah.
All right. So
Um, okay.
so of course I had to buy this thing.
Of course. Smart move.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Eagle
I'm
Eye Nate,
pretty
seeing
I'm
everything baseball related out in the real world. Good for you.
I'm certain that I'm the first to make this purchase.
Yeah.
But I thought that
You should have bought 8.
I almost bought there was 3 on the rack and I almost bought
Yeah.
all 3 of them. I was
Yeah.
like, I cannot justify spending $15 on this, but
Yeah.
I can at least justify $5.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd open it on the show and we'll see what we've got.
Wait.
True.
Should we do that now or should we wait till the end? Is this a teaser or do you want to
No,
just
I
rip
think
it
we
open?
gotta do it now. There's
Okay.
no
All
way
right.
that this is gonna be satisfying, so it's gotta be I've already
All
set
right.
it all up. All right.
Okay.
So all right. So I'm
All
there's
right.
a lot of
Nate's ripping at the box with his teeth right now. They're just
there's a lot of
slobbering everywhere.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of glue on this box.
There's a lot
All
of
right.
glue on the
I've
box.
torn the top open.
Yeah.
All right. There's a smaller box inside of it, it
Oh,
seems. Oh
wow.
wait. Okay.
Yeah. Nate's really rooting around there like I don't know, like a critter looking through the trash or something. I don't know. He's got a real raccoon energy going on right now. And he's looking longingly into the box. I think he's maybe disappointed. I can't tell.
Well, okay. So I've got in my hands now a stack of baseball cards
All right.
that are either actual replicas of really old baseball cards or just actual old baseball cards. I'm going to guess as I initially peruse through this,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have duped
Who are you seeing? What players are you seeing? Say some names.
JC Ramirez from the Angels,
Okay. That's not that old.
Bobby
He's
Coyle from the Dodgers,
That sounds old. I don't
Yor-
know who that is.
Yordi Cabrera, Zach Godley. Okay,
Okay.
that's not that long ago. All-Star
Yeah.
game 2017.
So it's just a pack of baseball cards.
Yeah, but there's also, let's see. So there's some real, those old like real gritty cardboard ones.
Sure.
Joe Price,
Wow.
Donruss, uh 1986. Now, what I
Okay.
don't know is this an actual baseball card from 1986 or is this a reprint? There's also, this is the real star of the show, Ben. There's a pack of gum
That's the
that
hit right
is
there.
the Topps Superstar Card 1990 yearbook. Oh, it's not gum, it's stickers. It's from 1990.
Oh,
These are
okay.
going on my water bottle.
Yeah, that
So
sounds good.
here's what I think I just bought. I think that some manufacturer had a bunch of old baseball cards lying around, none
Yeah.
of them worth anything.
Yeah.
Because in the modern era, you can just Google everything and
Right.
see its value. So I think I just paid $5 for a bunch of paper that has been printed over the last. There is not a single card in here that is. That there are no players that I know.
Zach Godley,
Stan,
you know him.
well, sure, but not these older ones.
Yeah, Joe Price seemed to be a guy in the 80s who pitched baseballs. I looked it up.
This card has something going on in it. It's got like a little, well, Jay Buhner from the
Yeah, JB.
Mariners.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like a Hall of Very Good. That's a player.
yeah. It's got like a little trophy icon embossed in it. Is this a hit? Is this?
Because he's a Oh, that's the hit. Okay, yeah.
I don't know. 1 and 8 contain a hit.
All right.
What?
Well,
Maybe the stickers are the hit.
I think you got duped, my friend.
I think I spent $5 on a bunch of shit that I'm gonna throw away. But you know
Yeah.
what? Oh, here we go. Tony Gwynn.
Hey, that's a hit.
Now that's a hit.
That's a young Tony Gwynn too.
It is a young Tony Gwynn.
How much does it say what year?
1989.
Yeah, what a year.
Wow.
Well,
Nothing good happened in
that was
1989.
that was riveting. That's maybe the
Yeah.
best thing we've ever done on the podcast.
I'm gonna go buy the other two that are on the rack.
Let's stop down. You go do that. Tony
Yeah.
Gwynn was an all-star, led the league in hits that year, led the league in average that year.
Okay.
Um, Tony Gwynn, God, he's one of my favorite baseball reference pages to
Ab-
pull up. That
yeah,
year,
absolutely.
1989, just picking this randomly, he had 56 walks this year, only 30 strikeouts. Just wow.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, so I think I just bought a bunch of paper that was printed in between the 80s and 2017. And this company bought all their old cards, repackaged them into this baseball
Yeah.
hanger, and then I bought it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you got duped by some like liquidator company that
yeah,
is just selling things to idiots like you
this little
who
pack of
can't speak
stickers
up for
might be fine.
themselves to get a shot in a CVS.
Fuck you.
They're like,
Let me see
some
what.
idiot's going to be standing around waiting for a shot. Nobody's going to notice them and they're going to buy this. And that's our business model.
All right, I've got. All right, these guys, I know these names, or at least most of them. So I've got some sticker cards here, which don't seem to actually be stickers. So I don't know what. I got a Ryan Sandberg sticker card. I've
This
got a.
sucks.
I've got. I've got a. Yeah, this is the top of the show too. Although we're like, yeah, all
Uh,
right, let's move on. All right,
anything else? Anything else?
we've got some news to talk about. So, uh, so last week we had Kyle Reese on the show and we spoke for a little while about the fact that it seemed like the Cardinals were in on Carlos Rodon.
Yeah.
It's what I've been calling for since the trade deadline of last year. I thought I actually thought they should sign him during free agency the year before, but it's like the Cardinals have been directly or indirectly linked to Carlos Rodon basically since he's left the White Sox. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Perfect fit for the Cardinals. We talked about how he was the perfect fit, and it was cool that it seemed like the Cardinals were into it. We recorded the episode, and then literally like 2 hours later, an article came out from Katie Wu saying, no, in fact, the Cardinals are not linked to Carlos Rodon. And then the next day, or a few days later, I think it was, he signed a 6-year, $177 million deal with the
162.
162. I'm conflating
You're
the
thinking of Dansby. Yep.
yeah. 162 deal with the New York Yankees, which he had said was his preferred result, which we laughed about because of course,
Yeah.
and it has turned out to be the case. But I think all of us were pretty shocked at this final result. 6 years, roughly 27 million AAV.
Yeah.
Seems like a good deal for the Yankees. Great deal for Rodon. He has multi-generational wealth now off of basically a year and a half of health.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I left. I think the big question is like, I guess, Ben, how frustrated are you that the Cardinals wouldn't do this, or like, what's your takeaway on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think my takeaway is probably the way a lot of Cardinals fans are feeling, after that news. Like, well, that's definitely less than I would have expected, especially with all the money that's been going around this offseason. I expected maybe another year and a higher AAV. And then, you look back at the Cardinals direction and that's probably a year longer than they would have wanted to go with him. That
Yeah,
AAV, if that AAV for them, if 27 million is not in line with them for a frontline starter in free agency, then I really don't understand where like the waters that this team is playing in. I think it's prudent to not throw a ton of money at a pitcher who is, questionable injury history, who is now, almost all of this contract will be on the other side of 30. Oh, actually, no, all of it will be on the other side of
all of
30.
it. Yeah,
Sorry. And, so I'll give the Cardinals the break on that. The thing that is frustrating is that is the kind of contract that the Cardinals could easily handle We talked about their lack of options going into 2024 and beyond. So it's hard to imagine that they can't shell out the shekels post 2024. They told us that the payroll was going to increase, and it has ever so slightly, to the point where it's kind of a bit like, I think it's increased like 0.1% or something really, really funny like that. But what it really comes down to is whatever projections that you want to look at. Nate's got a little kitty encroaching on him right now. It's very cute. Hey,
Vin, be
Tux.
very quiet. She's
Yes.
never. She's just jumped on my desk,
You can
like
hear
for
the
the
velvet.
first time ever.
Um,
Yeah,
I think what's my main problem with this is that you can, for what I think most of the baseball world would consider a fairly reasonable dollar amount in length, get somebody who's projected to be what the top a top 5 pitcher, a top 3 pitcher in the league, even with his kind of shaky health. He is, looking at Steamer, looking at the other projections, looking at what he's done the past 2 years. This is one of the best pitchers in baseball. You can go get him for money. The Cardinals need exactly what he is. He does all the things that we've talked about all offseason. He gets the strikeouts. When he's healthy, he goes long. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Um, so I think that's the part that really, really frustrates me, is that you don't expect the Cardinals to be in on everyone. They seem to pick and choose. Really, the only way to improve this team is at the very top of the
the
performance
rotation.
band, or
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it's it's frustrating. And we talked. I'm just going to keep blabbering on here. Like, we talked to Kyle a lot about last week. The Cardinals kind of have these two levers to pull. One of them is increasing the payroll, and one of them is spending with prospects and making a trade. So the fact that Rodon is gone. I mean, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I don't know who else the Cardinals would really target. There's nobody else that really fits into that shape on the free agent in free agency. So it kind of forces them to have to trade if they do want to improve the rotation in any meaningful way. So yeah,
yeah,
it's, did I see it coming? Yeah. Is it disappointing? Of course. Did it, like, when I saw the numbers, it was the knife kind of twisted there. It's like, you guys can
right.
afford this. So yeah.
That to me, I was prepared for it not to happen, but I was expecting it to be because the Yankees or somebody was going to do like 8 to 10 or
Yeah.
something for Rodon and just be like, okay, all right, fine.
Yeah.
You win. Like, that's not going to be a good contract for them, but they have the money and that's what happens. And,
Yeah.
I was prepared to, justify that. And we don't yet know like any details if the Cardinals were actually ever in the world of making an offer. And maybe Rodon just truly chose the Yankees over anything else. That happens. Sometimes players just actually want to play for a certain team and take whatever contract offer they're going to offer because it's all insane money anyway. Um, so, but it was frustrating if we assume that Rodon would have taken a better contract from the Cardinals, which again, we can't assume, but
Yeah.
going off of that, what this basically tells me is that we need to stop thinking about the Cardinals acquiring starting pitching in this way. Because if you're not going to do better than what the Yankees did for Rodon, like, what is the recipe that you're looking for?
Sure.
I mean, maybe, we know the Cardinals went high on David Price and didn't get him, and that's ultimately worked out well. And, he was only like 28, so he was younger than Rodon. Maybe there's all the injury history, and the Cardinals are a conservative organization, and maybe that's what it was. But like, I just like, this was the most obvious opportunity for them
Yeah.
to make the most obvious upgrade with the most obvious player on the market. And then the deal that comes out, you're like, well, you're not going to do better than that. Montgomery is probably going to get around 20 million a year.
Yeah.
And so you wouldn't go 7 more or whatever for Rodon. So it just told me like that we've got to stop thinking about the Cardinals as being pursuers of these high end starting pitchers. There's something fundamentally in the
Yeah.
organization that they've decided we're just not going to do this.
And I think it comes down, you kind of were circling around it, like they're just extremely risk adverse. And I think that is prudent in many ways. The Cardinals have been good for like our whole lives, basically, or at least relevant for quite a long time, which is great. But if you look at teams who push to get into the high 90s, who find themselves in the playoffs all the time, they take risks on players. Now, the Rays do
Yeah,
that in a very specific way that really no other team does that. But all the teams at the top take risks on guys. The Yankees, the Red Sox have done this in the past, although we've given them enough shit this year. I don't know what they're doing, but they have
yeah,
taken risk on players and it's worked out well and it hasn't worked out well. They gave JD Martinez a bunch of money. They traded for Chris Sale, who was often injured, and won a championship with them. They've done some interesting things. The Dodgers, I think, are the best example of this. The Dodgers are crazy because they will take a risk, let it work itself out for a year, and then just dump the guy and eat the salary. That's a level I'm not really expecting the Cardinals to play in. But I do think that they need to be able to push their chips in a little bit more because of all the factors. Like I think the sustainability thing is great, but really the Cardinals should have something close to, at the very least, like a top, I don't know, 8 payroll in baseball. And they should be willing to push their chips in when they find the guy that they want. Um, and
yeah,
maybe they just Rodon just wasn't that guy. And it's hard for me to get there because you look at everything that we've talked about, and man, he really he really seems to solve a lot of problems now and in the next few years. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Certainly seem to line up perfectly, and yeah, I mean, we as fans, we like to play the like bankroll management element of it a little bit, and to a degree, that's a reality. You have to, whatever resources they commit to any player is resources taken away from a different player, right? But it is annoying because the Cardinals outdraw almost every single team in baseball. They outdrew the Yankees in 2022. So any perceived budgetary restrictions are entirely self-imposed, and just the DeWitts not wanting to spend more money on the organization because they're making money hand over fist on this
Right.
on this team,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and this has been in the news recently, but the Cardinals are, topping the TV ratings. They're
yeah,
making buku bucks on all their real estate dealings around the ball. I mean, it's just a money
yeah.
machine.
Yeah, I mean, and we love that as Cardinal fans. We love the like, all of the attention and the draw, and that every game has a great crowd. But they don't they act like a mid-market team in
Yeah.
a as a team that draws and has all the other traffic. San
The,
Diego, acts like a big market team, and they're in anyway,
and
sorry.
you have to imagine that owners, 29 owners, or no, 28, because Steve Cohen's like, let's go. You have to imagine that 28 owners are cursing Peter Seidler. The Bob Nuttings of the world are
Yeah.
pissed that they're seeing this guy who's in a relatively small market pushing his chips in because he can. And it is a real competitive advantage. Like you can't buy championships in baseball, which is one of my favorite things about it, but you can really, really increase your opportunity percentages by investing in your team, investing smartly, and you're kind of buying yourself, that extra runway that's kind of my, like, we've talked about this in the past, but the Cardinals kind of always seem to be betting on the 80th percentile outcome or better. If
Yeah.
everything goes like we have our contingencies, if everything goes the way that we think it'll go, we're going to be really competitive. But if Jack and Wayno and Miles are injured this year, it's going to be a really, really long summer. Or we're going to have to make some trades at the last minute and find another. Hey Jay or J Hap, what's Hap's first name? Is it J A? J
J A
A.
Hap.
That's,
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be a name. J A.
I mean,
Yeah,
it helps being in the NL Central where there's almost always like, only one, at most three teams competitive at any moment. Like,
yeah,
if the Cardinals were even in the NL East, I think, it might be entirely different. And that it is interesting to think about. There's a lot of discussion around, um, are we going to get rid of divisions? Is it going to just be the NL, AL, kind of go back to the way it used to be, where it's just like top five teams make it into the
Yeah.
playoffs? And can teams really just coast on being the best in a bad division like they've been able to in the past? But I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky balance because
Yeah.
obviously, like Mozeliak ends up right more often than he's wrong. There are some elements that are there's some trades and there's some signings that are bad, but also the entire heart of the Cardinal lineup comes from trades that are roundly considered the Cardinals fleecing other organizations, right? So there's more good than there's bad. There's a reason why the Cardinals have won more often than they've lost. But you just look around the league and you look at these teams that are like clearly more willing to take a shot, and it can be frustrating as a fan to see the Cardinals never willing to take a shot. They just want to get to the playoffs and see if the random championship generator lands in the favor of the Cardinals. And I get that because our last two championships, the Cardinals went in as maybe the eighth seed
Right.
and won. And then the last time the Cardinals went in as like the top seed, which I'd say was 2013, they lost in the World Series, right? So like, why bother and just get to the playoffs and see what happens? I get that, but I do think the game is changing a little bit, and we're seeing a little bit more of the super team in baseball that we haven't, didn't see as much in years past. So anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on. Rodon, it's done. It's in the past.
Yeah.
That it's not happening, and you kind of hinted at this before. At this point, there's nobody left in the free agent market that I am particularly excited about
Yeah.
as a Cardinal fan. I think there's sort of an argument for the ceiling of Eovaldi, also S tier first name, but
Lame.
he he throws hard, he can strike people out. Like, I get that, but
Yeah.
I'd be fine with them not signing any of the remaining starting free agents.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. I talked a few weeks ago about finding a high end relief arm on the
Yeah.
through free agency. I think Taylor Rogers is still an interesting name who's out there. Andrew Chafin is another interesting name out there. I do wonder if Kimbrel would take like a 1 year deal
Yeah.
that is kind of a look at me deal.
I
Michael
so
Fulmer,
I meant
there's names out there.
I definitely meant as a starting pitcher. There's some
Yeah, yeah,
relievers that I think could be interesting, especially that's such a crapshoot position. Like, I'd be fine if the Cardinals went and signed Craig Kimbrell. Like, that'd be fun. And he was all right with the Dodgers last year, and there was a reason they're not bringing him back. But obviously, the ceiling is there, and like with relievers, you're just looking for 50, 60 good innings, and like a guy like Kimbrell, it could happen.
yeah.
And so I'd be okay with that sort of signing. But for the most part, like the free agent market to me is done as far as the Cardinals go.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that really just points it to, like, we talked about this with Kyle a little bit too, looking at the trade market. And I think
Yeah,
Miami, which we chatted about, is an obvious a partner. Honestly, like any one of their starters, I would be fine with taking a chance on. I really like Trevor Rogers. He had a bad year last year. But I would even be fine if the Cardinals went out and got something like that. Somebody who's on a down year, has the potential to bounce back. We know he's got good stuff when he's right. I don't think Sandy's going to really be got. And I
well,
talked about how
I
much I like. Oh yeah,
I think the Marlins have said they'll listen on everyone except for Sandy,
yeah,
which is
that's fair.
fair. Yeah.
Um,
Although, I mean, what are they really doing there? So,
Yeah,
but
the Royals have some pitching that would make sense for the Cardinals. I don't know. I don't really understand where the Royals are right now in their competitive window. Like they're kind of changing over their entire front office and ownership and all that. So, I guess we'll see there. Oakland is kind of a dried up husk. I think that there are some players to be traded for in Arizona, but that's another team I don't fully understand their competitive window. But if the Cardinals, made a deal for either Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen, I think both of those guys, or Zach Allen would be very expensive, and Merrill
yeah,
Kelly a little less so. But those would be great, great players. I know there's been some talk about them moving one of their left-handed outfielders too. Maybe the Cardinals pair of Zach Gallen and I don't know, Nate. How do you feel about Jake McCarthy? Do you like Jake McCarthy?
Sure, throw him in the pile of outfielders that we've got, and we'll see what sticks. I mean, he was pretty good last year,
Yeah,
so he would definitely. I think it'd be fair to say he'd be in the top three as far as Cardinal outfielders go going into 2023. But I'm still, you know,
yeah, and I'm just throwing these names out because it's so hard to identify the trade candidates because it's so hard to tell what teams are internally evaluating. So hard to tell how teams are evaluating Cardinals players, as we learned, um, like with a freaking pie in our face with the Sean Murphy fiasco that happened a couple of weeks ago. Like it's so hard to understand how other teams are valuing your players and so on. Like I don't know, but I think those are some names that make a lot of sense. Like, I mean, Detroit, I love Tarek Skubal. I don't know if he's going to be available, but that would be a guy who I would like. I would, I would,
yeah.
I would go buy the jersey if they got Skubal. I love his whole makeup. I love his repertoire. I love everything about him. I think that would be really fun, but maybe expensive. He was injured last year a little bit too. Anyways, I don't know. I could go on and on, but yeah.
I still think the answer is Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
That to me makes the most sense. We've still never seen the ceiling on him.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the high end opportunity for him, but he's not gotten there yet. So the price will be muted a little bit. And you'd maybe be buying low a little bit. And the Cardinals, at worst case scenario, he's hurt, and we just slide in another one of those mid rotation guys that we have a dozen of, or back of rotation guys. But if it clicks, there you go. You've got that number one or number
Yeah.
two that we really need.
Yeah.
I not to say it'd be cheap, like it would be expensive. Don't get me wrong, because the talent is there and you have to pay for talent, but it's not the same as going and trading for like an actual ace. He to me
Right.
is like the most available to maybe become an ace and could
Yeah.
with your organization.
And to pick on the Marlins right now, they kind of have to do something. They have some good starters. They've kind of whiffed on every free agent that has made sense, unless Carlos Correa gets thrown back into the free agency pool with his weird health thing that we don't really have all the answers on as we're recording this. But they've
He's
kind
still
of
not. The
missed.
Marlins aren't doing shit right now. Like it's
No.
such a weird. Yeah, I
So
don't know what their plan is, and they're also in suddenly an incredibly competitive division. They need so many more pieces than like one or two guys. They need everything to click.
yeah, but I think like you got so let's say they trade Pablo, they still got Sandy. Trevor Rogers could bounce back. Jesus Luzardo might have the best stuff on that staff.
Yeah,
Braxton Garrett had a good year. Edward Cabrera had a good year. Eliezer Hernandez is a starting pitcher that could be something. They have a lot of pitching. If they could just, Jazz Chisholm is a very very exciting player. They just need more bats. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what they do. It just makes a lot of sense. And the Cardinals line up really well with them, I think.
yeah. Well, we've traded with him multiple times and
Yeah.
for varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
There was an interesting tweet from Ben Cerruti, which is a great follow, where he listed out some um, possible trade candidates for relievers, which you don't often do as much in the off season. But there were some interesting names on this list. And one stood out to me because I've heard talk of them possibly trading him, being interested in trading him, which is Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
Now, he would be expensive. He's been one of the best closers in baseball for several years in a row now, but he's getting a little old. I think he's 34 or so. And the White Sox, who neither of us truly know exactly what they're trying to do.
No one does.
Um,
Jerry
but
Reinsdorf doesn't know what they're doing.
they've done this before where they've traded they traded Kimbrel last year for AJ Pollock, which was a good trade, I think, even if Pollock wasn't particularly good for them. It fit their needs, right? So they've shown a willingness to deal from this position before. I'm torn on the Cardinals trading for a reliever because the reliever element is so hit or miss. I kind of like this approach that they're doing where they're just throwing darts at these guys. But I don't know. I'm pretty supportive of the idea of going out and getting someone like a Hendricks. I think it could really help um, shorten the game a little bit, and paired with Hicks and Helsley and Gallegos, teams have been able to be successful with just
Yeah.
having an incredibly strong bullpen and a good offense, which we assume we'll have going into
Yep.
23.
Yeah, and I mean, Liam Hendricks is good. He hasn't lost a step. He strikes out everybody. Also, like maybe the best mound presence in baseball currently, like very mad Hungarian
Yeah.
vibes. Kind of a lunatic. He watches the same episode of TV with his wife every single night, and I can't remember. It's like an episode of NYPD Blue or something like that, and they watch the exact, not the same show, the exact same episode. So I find that bizarre, but he's a great he's a great player. And it is like the thing with getting a Liam Hendricks, and this isn't a real problem, but this is something you have to think about if you're Ollie and Mo, is like, okay, we're getting Liam Hendricks. He's clearly the closer. So is Ryan Helsley a coming in at the scary part before the ninth? And, that's not a big problem, but it does kind of shake up what you would think your bullpen would be going into next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like that's interesting. Like kind of looking through Ben's again, this is a Ben Cerruti post on Twitter. There's some really
Which is,
interesting names in there.
by the way, at STL fan BC7. So
Yep.
just shout out to Ben.
Yeah. If you're listening, yeah, definitely. If you're listening to this podcast, follow him for sure. But Emmanuel Class A, like trading for somebody like that who's like an otherworldly talent, I don't think that's
No way.
possible.
There's no way.
Um,
Yeah, there's some names on here that like I get because they're coming from a position of depth.
yeah.
But like the Guardians are not trading Class A. I mean, he's 24 and one of the best relievers in baseball.
He
So
is so fun to watch. That cutter is just
yeah,
nuts.
he's great. Or
Andrew,
the Mariners have like 8 high end
yeah.
relievers, but I just don't think they're trading those guys either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Chris Martin is on this list. The Boston just signed him. The Cardinals could have got him if they were interested. Andrew Chafin, as I mentioned earlier. The only other name I want to call out, I don't think this is going to happen, but just because he's fun to watch, is Johan Duran, who is
Dude,
he's basically
yeah.
Class A, kind of the same kit, just a little bit different package, and throws 102 miles per hour with I think he threw last year the hardest splitter that has ever been thrown, and it was clocked at like 101 or maybe 100 even or something like that. He's incredible.
Well, I think that the Twins, yeah, he is. He's a ton of fun to watch. I think the Twins consider themselves competitors. And
Oh,
so
they
they're
signed
not,
Joey Gallo, Nate. Yeah, they're pushing
yeah,
in right now. Let's
yeah. So
go.
I don't think they're trading anyone. That's why I
No.
don't think the Mariners are trading anyone. I don't think the Guardians are trading these guys. That's where, like, I think the White Sox, it's an interesting one because we don't truly know how they see themselves in 2023. You might be able to get one of their guys, and they've shown a willingness to trade from the bullpen, even in a competitive year.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. You maybe be able to work with the Pirates on David Bednar, who's really good, but they don't really need that right now. They need everything else. Um,
I know this isn't the sabermetrically forward look at this, but I don't like trading with the Pirates. I'm going to be so
yeah,
mad to watch Oviedo pitch
Oviedo.
against the
Yeah,
Cardinals this year. So
yeah.
I'm telling you, he's going to click in.
Um,
He's going to have a nice year for them. He's going to locate that fastball. It just hurts extra. You got to trade talent to get talent, but my little heart, my little heart can't take it.
yeah. Um, while we're on the trade market and the Twins, there's been a lot of talk about the Twins now have a glut of outfielders.
You really hit that glut.
Glut of outfielders. And so there's a lot of talk about Max Kepler being traded,
Yeah.
which my opinion is the same on him on any other generic mid-tier outfielder. Like, we don't need it. But that has led people to then speculate, well, if you're going to trade for a Twins outfielder, go ahead and trade for Byron Buxton. which is of course fun to do, but like let's be real here. Like we don't need any more projected Byron Buxton trades because the Twins are not going to trade this guy. Like
Also,
they
Walker and Wynn are included in that trade. Like you're
yeah, they're
depleting this. It's Walker, Wynn, Newt, and then Graceffo, and maybe more. Like
yeah, he's their guy. That's their whole thing. Like he's hurt all the time and you could argue, maybe it's time to move on for him, but like he might be the best player in baseball. He just can't stay healthy. And so they signed him to a huge contract that the Twins are not trading Byron Buxton. It's
no,
fun. I know it's December. We've got to have our fun somewhere, but like just because you think the Twins are going to trade Max Kepler doesn't mean you can just ratchet it up to like, well, why not just go trade for Byron Buxton? Like,
yeah,
yeah, sure, okay. Like you could do that with any team. Like, oh, the Dodgers are going to trade, their fourth outfielder. Well, why don't we just go and get Mookie Betts?
it's
Like,
just that
yeah, it's
easy. Yeah,
it's it's just that easy. So,
yeah,
like, I would love Byron Buxton as the starting center fielder for the Cardinals. But the Twins have him, and they seem to be pretty happy with him
yeah.
as their center fielder.
He's also a guy that's going to benefit from the shift. Like he yeah,
Yeah, he good. He good.
yeah, like per game, one of the most valuable players in baseball. But yeah, we'll see if he can stay healthy. He hit 28 home runs last year in 92 games. That's the
Yeah.
power that he has kind of come into as he's gotten older has been breathtaking. He is
Well,
incredible.
they clearly made a decision last year to have him steal less bases,
Yeah,
to try to keep him healthy, and it only kind of worked. But I think it did allow him to tap into the power a little bit more.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean he's incredible. I'm
he
a
is.
huge fan of Byron Bucks. I think this is what everyone says, so not a unique take here, but like I just want one full healthy year of Byron Buxton at max capacity because he's competing with Trout and Otani and
Yeah,
Vlad, for MVP. Um, so anyway,
I'm with you,
um,
brother.
so why don't they just trade for him? Any other trade candidates you want to talk about before we move on?
No, I will just echo your sentiment around Max Kepler. Like, why trade for Max Kepler when you have Lars Nootbaar at home?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I will say, if you really, really value right field defense, that's your guy. But outside of that, yeah, I'm in line with you. Unless he's like free, like if he's a low level pitcher or something like that, then
Yeah.
yeah, go get him.
Throw him in the pile and see what
Sure,
sticks. But
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
All
no.
right.
Outside of
So
that, no thanks. He's
we got a
German.
pack. Ooh. Wunderbar.
That was exactly what I was looking for. Knocked it out of the park. Great job.
All right. Well, we've got more to talk about, but before we do, we want to remind all of our listeners that we are supported on Patreon. Hey, it's the season of giving, Ben.
Yeah, give me
And
some.
if
Give
if
me
you're enjoying this,
some.
if you're enjoying the show and you want to support it's the creation and the time that and effort that goes into it, consider joining our Patreon, patreon.com/talking about birds.
Yeah, we are watching a movie, okay, people?
So patrons at any level get access to our private Discord. It's called the Birds Gourd. We're having a great time in there. Nonstop laughs,
Tweet, tweet.
hot takes, tweet, and get in there. It's a great place to be. It's only going to get better. 100 days till opening day. It's a great place to be if you're sort of sick of the social media roulette that's happening right now and you just want to talk to some people that are Cardinal fans, get in there. So also consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It does help. We appreciate all those of you who have. And if you haven't, it's like 2 minutes. Just go in there and do it. We truly appreciate it. If you're not following us online, maybe you should. Ben, where can people find us online?
Yeah, make sure to follow us at Talk About Birds on Twitter. You can find movie trailers, hot takes, great retweets. We kill it over there. You can also follow us on Instagram at Talking About Birds. It's Talking About Birds on Instagram, @talkaboutbirds on Twitter. And of course, per usual, you can email us any thoughts, musing questions. I think I said flirtations last week, flirtations,
Hmm.
ideas, movie opinions, whatever you might have to talkaboutbirds at gmail.com. I'm not going to, it's it's the holiday season. I'm not going to, slander you in any way this week, Nate. I think
Wow.
email us and tell us Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or Happy New Year. Let's keep the cheer going around because I love Christmas. Um, and
As was stated earlier, yeah,
also,
big. You're Scrooge after the events of A Christmas Carol.
yeah, yeah. We're also on good old Spotify. So for some reason, that's your preferred way to listen to podcasts. You can find us on Spotify as well.
Awesome. So yeah, let's keep going. So what do you want to talk about next, Ben? I know we've got our little list here. I guess
Yeah,
there was a big signing that happened that was not the Cardinals,
yeah,
but it directly impacts the Cardinals. So let's talk about it. Uh, Dansby Swanson,
yeah.
you know,
Can I say? Can
loosely.
I say I called it? Can I say I called it?
You can now, whether that's true or anyone respects it is a different thing. But
Listen to the tape. I said this weeks ago.
yeah, I mean, that was like the thing
Oh
everyone was
my
expecting.
goodness. It was an
But
original thought from me. Okay. Yeah. Dansby Swanson signs with the Cubs 7 years, Nathan. 7 years, $177 million to Mr.
I
Dansby
love this
Swanson.
signing for the Cubs.
Yeah.
I'm so excited
Yeah.
that the Cubs have chosen to capitalize on a career year from Dansby
They
Swanson.
paid him like it too. Wow.
I
Like,
know I mean, they're another team that has more money than they have spent for the last several years.
yeah.
So ultimately, if this contract doesn't work out for the Cubs, it's really not going to hamstring them in any way, um, because they have,
Yeah.
all of
Well,
these teams have more money than they actually spend. But I was surprised at the overall contract value. Yeah,
And I think we have every right to dunk on the Cubbies a little bit for this, but I want to start off by saying why this deal is good for the Cubs, and I think what it does is really, really shores up their up the middle defense. They have
yeah,
a potentially Gold Glove caliber shortstop with Dansby, who I think he'll maintain that for the next couple of years. The big thing with Dansby is his throwing arm is no good. So we'll see how that ages. It allows them to move who I personally think Nico Horner is a better shortstop than Dansby to second. So he is going to be in the conversation for Gold Glove, assuming that transition goes well for him. You can imagine Cody Bellinger, who we've talked about many times as being one of the best center fielders in baseball, is going to be starting most of their games in center field. So that gives them up the middle, really, really, really solid defense. Patrick Wisdom and Chris Morrell are going to be playing third base. That's going to be a high level defensive group over there. Ian Happ is going to move out of center field and be left field or right field. All I'm like, what I'll appreciate, I'll give the Cubs credit for is that their pitching shows up, which it's gotten a little bit better with Tyon, and they'll have a Stroman for another year.
Stroman.
They're
Yeah,
going to be able to pick it. And Cardinals fans know exactly how effective that can be over the last few years. They're going to be a really good defensive team, and that's going to be really frustrating. So that's the thing that I'll say that's good about this signing.
yeah. I think it lifts the floor.
It lifts the
The
floor.
Yeah,
Outside of that, I think you hit the nail on the head. They paid a guy after a career year who I don't think you and I really see, like, if
here
Dansby eclipses Six WAR again, I will be shocked. I will be beside myself. I think that we saw the best version of Dansby.
here's a fun fact. Now, I I know that this is incredibly misleading, but it is true. Paul DeYoung and Dansby Swanson have the same career OPS plus.
Just opposite trajectories.
Yeah, no, again, I know it's misleading and I know,
Yeah.
but that fact is very funny to
Yeah.
me. So obviously Dansby has really stepped it up the last 2 years and Paul DeYoung has not, but still.
Yeah.
It's I think he's a good signing. My default is to make fun of the Cubs, and I think he got more money in more years than any of us were expecting. But so did everyone except for Carlos Rodon.
Right.
Everyone has gotten more money in more years than expected, and ultimately, when you look back at these contracts, Trey Turner almost 300, or Trey Turner over 300, Xander almost 300, Correa if it goes through over 300. It could end up that this Dansby contract is ultimately the most reasonable out of all of those deals.
Yeah.
But I think it's also the most likely to become just a complete albatross, and he becomes like a light hitting defensive first, second baseman within a few years.
Yeah, I think you got two big things to worry about with Dansby. I think first is his approach. When he swings and hits the ball, it's great. We love it. Everyone's in it. Like
The hair's flowing.
he's hitting the
His
ball
name is
hard.
Dansby.
But
What more do you want?
he doesn't have a very disciplined approach. He swings and misses a lot. He strikes out a lot. And he's going from a highly analytical organization that was positioning him very, very well because of the way the rules existed up until 2022. And in 2023, he's going to have to play shortstop like they have pre-shift. He's going to have to cover that ground. I think I'm very curious to see if he is the defensive wizard that his current numbers show, because I think that I just think there might be a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Now we're have a front row seat to it. I might be totally way off on this, and we'll be talking in
Mm-hmm.
6 months, and Dansby is just frustrating the Cardinals hitters play after play. But that's kind of the hunch I have. Like I said, like he doesn't have a great arm. His first step is good. But I really think that he, I, Atlanta kind of has like a system defense, and he was kind of really good in the system.
Yeah.
To kind of compare to football a little bit, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll watch him. They're also, I don't know if we noted this, there's a no trade clause included in that, so he's going to be here or there for quite a
Yeah.
while.
Though, I mean, how often, unless you're, was it Hosmer or Luke Voigt? How often has a no trade clause ever actually come into play? Unless
Yeah.
was it Voigt with the
No,
Padres,
no,
or
Hosmer
was it
declined, so they
Hosmer?
had to drop Voigt because
That's what it
they're
was.
running out of
Yeah,
26 man space. Yeah.
yeah,
Which,
yeah,
what a, and
yeah,
then, well, I was going to talk about this later, but then a couple of days ago, Hosmer got DFA'd from the Red Sox, and
yeah.
it's like, well, that kind of adds up. And I bet that Luke Voigt has a job here soon.
Yeah, but just like, I mean, of course,
Yeah.
you have he was doing what his contract said he could do, which is
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be traded from the Padres to the Nationals,
Yeah, he negotiated
because
that. Yeah.
and it was his right. It's just, and I'm glad that he did it because I'm sure he had way more fun finishing the season with the Padres than
Yeah.
if he would have with the Nationals, and that was what he earned with that contract. But
No, you're
you don't
forgetting.
see it.
You're forgetting. He got traded to the Red Sox at the end of last year,
Right. Okay.
and
Yeah.
then
All
Luke
right.
Voigt got picked up by the Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dansby, it's all gonna be he's on a razor's edge of value,
Yeah.
His offensive profile, if he does exactly what he did the last year or two, he's going to be incredibly valuable. But if that K percentage increases by just a little bit, uh the wheels are gonna fall off. If
Yeah.
that power, that ISO reduces just a little bit, he's gonna be a mid-range shortstop,
Hey,
maybe
Nate,
second baseman,
if that wind's blowing off the lake all year, oh,
Ooh, baby.
oh,
Ooh, the North side of Chicago is gonna hate him up there.
Wow,
Um,
that was really good.
Chicago. All right. Yeah, so we'll see. But either way, this is a direct impact of the Cardinals because we're going to be seeing Dansby all the time now.
Dansby all the time. All right.
Dansby all the time. All right, Ben, you've set up a whole thing for
Yeah.
us to do. So
Yeah.
we're gonna round out this episode with a couple of activities.
Yeah.
So Ben, this is from the twisted mind of Ben Samorka. So I'll let
Yeah.
you set it up.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm calling this the Free Agent Scraps Big Money Draft, AKA FASBUMD,
Mm-hmm.
which I think
Faz
FASBUMD.
Faz
FASBUMD, which rolls off the tongue. Okay. Here's how FASBUMD works. Ben and Nate each draft 6 remaining free agents, and that is we were recording Tuesday night, December 20th. So 6 remaining free agents. Whoever collects the most guaranteed money by spring training wins the competition. Spring training officially starts February 24th. So if you draft a player who has not been signed prior to that date, he counts as 0.
Understood.
Makes sense?
It does.
Okay.
So are we going back and forth on this? Who's going first?
We're going back and forth. I have a coin flipper pulled up on my screen, brought to you by Google.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to hit flip. And when I hit flip, I'll say it, and I want you to call it. And you can say heads or tails, and
Okay.
I will reveal the winner. And
Okay.
I'm flipping,
Heads.
and it's on heads. Nate wins.
All right.
So would you like to go first or second?
I'm gonna go first.
All right,
And my first pick is
Natey H.
Jurickson Profar.
Wow. Okay. I think that is a terrible pick. His own team didn't want him. He's gone. But
We'll see.
I mean, he's young. You have that. So I think that's good for you.
Versatility. Position players are being paid. Oh, I'm not gonna tap the glass here. I'm not gonna give you my thought process.
Yeah.
My first. Are you taking notes on this or should I be?
Well, I'll write yours down. You write mine down. How about that?
what a complicated way to go about it. All right, I'm writing down yours and you write down mine. All right.
This is shoot, I forgot. This is Phasm. Okay, Nate. This is
Yeah.
you're on my
All right. No, I like it. You're
okay.
in charge here. All right.
All right. I
Who you-
think okay, ready?
Yep.
We shut up for 1 second so I can
Okay.
All right. I'm going to draft previously mentioned Nathan Eovaldi. I think
Okay.
I'll just I'll give a little something. I think best pitcher on the market, relatively young compared to some of the older guys. Teams are going to get desperate. I think Eovaldi's going to get paid.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Thanks, Nate.
Again, S tier first name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with my middle infielders. I'm gonna say
Hey, you didn't write down my guy.
I'll get to
What are you
it.
doing? This is horseshit.
Gene Segura.
Oh, okay. That was going to be my next pick. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Good. I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's solid. I am going to. Oh, damn! This you really threw a wrench in my wrench.
Don't put these wrenches in my wrenches.
Yeah. Oh, damn! I was really going to be excited about that. I'll go to. Let me get. I'm going to stick with my starting pitcher thought process here. I'm going to go Danny Duffy. I think Danny Duffy, he's got good periffs. I think he's going to get a multi-year deal, which is really going to push that guaranteed up. So give me Danny Duffy.
Yeah, Duffy got linked to the Cardinals every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it. So
Yeah.
okay. I don't necessarily think this is going to be a good contract for anyone involved. but I'm gonna go. I think with pitchers, they're getting a little paid right
Yeah.
now. I mean, everyone's getting paid, and I've gone middle infielder back to back. So I'm gonna go with old friend Michael Waka.
Oh, good choice. He was going to
Mm-hmm.
be next on mine if
Mm-hmm.
he was available to me. Great pickup, Nate. Wow. I mean, even for you,
Thanks.
pretty
Wow.
impressive. All right. I'm gonna go. Do I want to stick with pitching? I probably shouldn't. Um, no, I'm gonna go off course a little bit. I'm going to pick. Oh crap. Let's see. No, he's too old. Oh no, Nathan. I'm at a loss here.
Benjamin, make a pick.
I know. I keep second guessing myself. Okay. I'm gonna go with Brian Anderson. Give me Brian Anderson. He's released by Miami. Toolsy, third baseman, one of the best arms in baseball. I think a smart team's going to take advantage of him. Now, how much money is he going to get? I don't know. Probably not that much. We'll see what happens here. But I'll go Brian Anderson. Good hair,
Okay.
good flow on Brian
Great hair.
Anderson. Yeah.
Great hair. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Brian Anderson, good pick. Um, I'm gonna go just off the narrative alone. This guy, I think he's worth double everything that your guys are gonna
Oh
earn.
wow.
Trey Mancini.
Oh, good
Get
pick.
get this man starting job.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2 33.
All right. Well, should we? Yeah, we're not doing predictions, but
No, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I just forgot I was supposed to write your guy down.
Wow.
Who that
Wow.
was? You said Gary Sanchez, right?
No, the Sanchez.
The
Surely
Sanchez.
someone is going to lock him up. Trey Mancini.
Mancini, yes.
I
Okay.
thought about Mancini for the Cardinals. It doesn't make any sense with we don't need any more of his type, but he's a cool guy.
If Mancini was a left-handed hitter, he would already be
Yeah,
signed, and
yeah,
be making double whatever he's going to get. Yeah, it's kind of the
yeah.
funny thing. Speaking of narrative, I'm going to do a little bit of narrative, and I'm going to do a lot of Scott Boras on this, and I'm going to go with Michael Conforto. I think somebody's going to give him a high dollar, might even be an
Hmm.
option with a decent payout that's going to up that guaranteed money. So yeah, give me Conforto.
Yeah, I was looking at Conforto for my next pick. He's such a wild card in the current free agent market because obviously the ceiling was there, the performance was kind of there, and then he missed a full year with some
Yeah.
sort of obscure shoulder injury. So you don't see that a lot. I'm definitely expecting a pillow contract. Someone's going to take him. Hopefully, I'm thinking he's going to get like 13 million from a bad team who's going to hope that he crushes and then they can trade him
Yeah.
and then he'll get a legit contract. That's
A-
my expectation
And I
with him.
mean, that's kind of the fun thing about this game is that that's the kind of money we're not talking about hundreds of millions. We're talking like 13 million could
No.
be a nice value pick for me. We'll see what happens here though.
Yeah. Speaking of nice value picks, I still think there's going to be some value in the right or in the relief pitching market. We talked about him earlier. I'm going to go Taylor Rogers.
Damn it.
He's on,
Damn
he's
it. That
only
was going to
thir-
be my next pick.
he's only 32.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's going to get a couple year deal with some good change
All
on it.
right.
So, yeah.
That's good. Damn. Okay. You
We've
you
got
you really just
we're doing
swept
a
the
lot.
rug out from under me.
We've got 2 picks left each.
2 picks left each. Okay. All right. I'm looking down the list. I hate to do this. I'm not sure how much I believe in this pick. I have no idea where he's going to go, but I'll take Brandon Belt, who pretty much didn't have a year last year. But I want Brandon Belt, free agency for the first time. See what he does
He's
here.
got he's got those rings.
He's got the
Okay.
rings. I think, there's still some left in that bat. Baby giraffe. He's got stuff. He could do it.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Um I just wrote down only Brandon. Hold on, let me fix that. All right. You have not written down my most recent pick.
Oh,
So,
I did. Wait, who did you just pick? Oh yeah, Taylor Rogers.
Taylor Rodgers.
It's because I was
You
so
made these rules.
well.
Yeah.
I was so mad about that one. I really wanted Taylor Rogers, but I was trying to
Yeah.
wait for the value.
We're down at the bottom here. I
Yeah,
think
we are.
name brand alone is going to get this guy
Damn it.
2 digits in the millions, which is a confusing way to say 10 million at least. Craig
Damn
Kimbrell.
it. Damn it. Damn it. Good pickup.
Thanks, guy.
All
All
right.
right. You've got one more pick.
All right. I think I have to do it. We talked about him a lot this season. Oh crap! But there's all right. There's two players I'm thinking of. I guess I'll say what I'm thinking after the draft, so I don't give anything away,
Okay.
and you don't take my guy. But
Well, I don't have any more picks. So
you don't. Okay.
we're done. We're
Wow.
done
Look,
after
I'm
this.
really good at my own game. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
thinking Elvis Andrews because he had a nice year, and he's probably going
he
to get a
did.
guarantee of at least 2 years. I'm also thinking about Gary Sanchez because he is a catcher. He can catch well. It's the bat.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking about Miguel Sano. I wouldn't be surprised if a team paid Miguel Sano a little bit. Also, Will Myers is out there. There's still some talent out there that could click, but I think I want to win, right?
Right.
So I think I'm going to go with Elvis Andrus, and he's got a good year behind him. Maybe get a 2-year deal. I'll take Elvis as my final pick here.
I think that's fair. It's probably who I pick out of the list that you provided. Um, I do think probably whoever pays that is chasing, you know, a good, really half season
Yeah,
of a 34-year-old shortstop who hasn't really been relevant for like 5 years.
yeah,
But he was good. Like
yeah,
the back half of last year, he was legitimately good. It
yeah,
was pretty wild to see that bounce back. But I'd be surprised if that's something that
yeah.
carries into
Um,
2023.
yeah, a couple other names. Andrew Chafin, we've talked about him already a couple of times. I think it would be a good pick. Um, who else did I want to? Oh, Chad Kuhl, who kind of had an
Yeah.
up and down season with the Rockies. Would not be surprised if he gets a multi-year deal. But all right, it's locked in.
Yeah.
I'll read this out really quick just to close the book on this game. Nate went with Jerkson Profar, Gene Segura, Michael Waka, Trey Mancini, Taylor Rogers, and Craig Kimbrell. Wow, what a team! And Ben went with Nate Evaldi, Danny Duffy, Brian Anderson, Michael Conforto, Brandon Belt, and Elvis Andrews. So
Hmm.
we'll follow up on that. Like I said, deadline is February 24th. And man, I can't wait for Evaldi to sign $100 million contract and me to just walk away with this.
It might happen,
Yeah,
but probably not. I'm thinking
probably not.
he's gonna get like 342 or something like that,
Yeah,
which might be enough to
it
set the
might be.
difference in this game,
Yeah,
you know. Um, but he's getting older and he's never really put it all together,
right.
you know. All right, well, we're done with your game. We're gonna wrap up this episode with a classic game, a fan favorite, Ben, because it addresses a core issue of this podcast. Listen, the name of the show is
Oh, okay.
Talking About Birds.
Yeah.
Okay. And we
Oh
actually
God. Yeah. Okay.
had to append a St. Louis Cardinal podcast onto the title because it was unclear. We're getting bird watchers left and right. Okay. And we love our bird watching community. Okay.
Do we?
Ben, you know we do.
We love them.
And in fact, we're going to embrace that a little bit today with a little game that I call Bird or Boy.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a boy.
God, I forgot about that.
So I
Great
have
work
a list.
by
Thank
associate
you.
producer Nate Eininger.
yeah. So I've got a list here,
Yeah.
and I've changed the game a little bit. This time, it's exclusively Cardinal players. So I'm going to I'm going to say
Yeah.
a single word, and it's either the last name of a former or current Cardinal player
Okay.
or a type of bird.
All right.
And you have to tell me which it is.
And to be clear, to understand your thought process, so me and the listener, we're all on the same page here, is that you think that this will appease the bird watching people that come to the podcast on accident?
We're talking about birds, baby.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Let's go.
All right.
Rip it.
So I'm not done on the rules. So if it's a boy, you're going to hear this.
A real boy.
Yep.
And if it's a bird, you're going to hear this.
Yeah. The duck noise.
That's a good noise.
Mallard.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start. And the first is Aroka.
Aroka. That's good. Aroka. That Aroka, where would that be from? It sounds like it might be Japanese, but it could. Oh, that's a tough one. Are there any accents on that or anything like that? Do you want to help me out there?
I will spell it for you.
No, that's okay. I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say that's a bird. I don't think that that's a boy.
A real boy.
Damn it.
Rene Aroka
Renee
was a
Aroka.
pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals from 1993 to 1995. Some of our
Wow.
listeners might remember him.
Okay.
It might be Arocha. It's Arocha. I don't remember him. But,
Okay. I should have asked you to spell it because I thought it was Aroka.
but it's the same.
I mean,
Aroka.
Well, the etymology would be different, but yeah, okay, yeah, fine.
Wow.
I lose. I get it. Yeah, move on.
Yep. All right.
Everyone hates me.
Yep. Bibby.
Bibby. I mean, it's a great last name if it is a last name. I don't think it is. Well, I mean, obviously it could be a last name. I'm going to say that that's a bird.
A real boy.
Oh my God, this is going poorly.
Jim Bibby.
Jim
Was
Bibby.
a pitcher for
Wow.
the St. Louis Cardinals in 1972 and 1973.
We all remember Jim.
All right. Bob White.
This is only surnames, right? Its name isn't Bob White.
It's Bob White.
Bob White.
Bob White.
God, I want that to be a last name so bad. I'm obviously very bad at this game. I mean, if somebody was named Bob White, that would be my favorite thing that's ever happened. Robert Bob White. But like birds, Bob, they can be white. So that also makes sense. Really,
Yeah, that does make sense.
yeah, I'm killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about birds after dark, I'm feeling sharp. I'm going to say that is a bird. Thank
All
goodness.
right.
On the board.
Man, you are on the board. An emphatic whistled Bob White ringing from a grassy field or piney woods has long been a characteristic sound of summers in the eastern countryside.
Yep.
It's quite a bit harder to spot a northern Bob White, as the bird's elegantly dappled plumage often offers excellent camouflage. They forage in groups, scurrying between cover or bursting into flight if alarmed. Bob Whites have been in sharp decline throughout the past half century, likely owing to habitat loss and changes in agriculture.
Cool.
And they are an increasingly high priority for conservation.
Thanks, Nate. That was great.
Cool. All right.
I forgot how insane you sound reading bird copy off the internet. So thank you for that.
I also don't read it until I'm doing this, so it's all new. It's new to both of us.
So if you're a Wikipedia editor, go out there, try to guess the bird that Nate's going to read about.
All right, you ready for this next one?
Bob White.
Bird.
Okay, so this sucks because you could just be like, well, yeah, it's a bird. So all birds are birds. But also Larry Bird, the bird is also a last name. So I'm going to say the last name. This is a boy. Yeah, I didn't know
That's
if you were
right.
going to pull some Navy bullshit, but
Frank Bird was a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1892.
yep, we all remember.
I was thinking, is bird a type of bird? And I don't think so.
I mean, a bird is the word. Move on.
All right. Limpkin.
Limpkin. That just sounds like a regular ass name to me. So I'm gonna go a boy on that one. Damn it! I am terrible at this game.
The gangly brown and white limpkin looks a bit like a giant rail or perhaps a young night parrot. Its long bill is bent and twisted at the tip, an adaptation for removing snails from the shell. Limpkins are tropical wetland birds whose range reaches into
So
Florida.
stupid.
They specialize in eating apple snails. Apple snails,
I
which
like
they
half of
hunt
that.
snails both day and night, and they often leave telltale piles of snail shells at the edges of freshwater wetlands where hunting is good. The bird's haunting cries, heard mostly at night, are otherworldly and unforgettable.
Jesus. Okay.
All right.
Uh,
Wait, did you get that one? Yeah, you got that one. Okay.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did. No, I said
did
it
you
was
not?
a person. Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, pay attention.
Sanderling.
Sanderling. Jeez, I don't know. I'm so bad at this game. I just need to guess. I'm gonna say that's a boy. Yeah. How many are left?
The sanderling is a small wading bird. The name derives from Old English. The genus name is from Ancient Greek, a term used by Aristotle for some gray-colored waterside birds. It is a circumpolar Arctic breeder. Circumpolar Arctic breeder, and is a long-distance migrant, wintering south to South America, South Europe,
don't
Africa,
care.
and Australia. Let me finish. It is highly gregarious in winter, sometimes forming large flocks on coastal mud flats or sandy beaches.
We should have him on the pod.
Sounds like a cool
fun.
dude.
Yeah.
All right. Fussleback.
God, I don't know. It's a bird.
A real boy.
Dude, you've been pretty good at this game in the past, but you are swinging and missing on this one. Eddie Fussleback was a catcher, outfielder, and pitcher for the Cardinals in 1882.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm learning is just anything can be named anything. That is this game.
All right, just a few more.
Yeah. Do I have a chance of
Euhena.
winning still, Nate? Can I still pull it out?
I'm pretty sure you're getting eaten by birds at the
The
end
last
of this.
one is worth 10 points, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Euhena.
Oh, boy.
It's remarkable on a 50-50 chance how often you're getting it wrong. The black-chinned euhena is a bird species in the white-eye family Zosteropidae. It is found in the Indian subcontinent from the Himalayan eastwards to contiguous hilly regions of Southeast Asia. The species ranges across Bangladesh, Bhutan, Cambodia, India, Laos, Myanmar, Nepal, Tibet, and Thailand. Its natural habitats are subtropical or tropical, moist lowland forests, as well as subtropical or tropical moist montane forests. Wow.
You might. I hope that bird goes extinct. I don't care.
Two more. Perky.
Boy.
A real boy.
Hey, there we go.
Bob Perky. Spelled like turkey, but with a P. Was a pitcher for the
Is
Cardinals.
that why you picked it? Because it was close to
Yes.
turkey? Okay.
Yes, that's exactly why I picked
Wow.
it. Born in 1965. Then finally,
For 10
Shell
points.
Duck.
For 10 points. Shell Duck. No. No. Oh, God. I can't remember which way the bit went.
I know. We've played this game 3 times now,
Yeah.
and Shell Duck has been on all 3, and you've gotten it wrong twice. So let's see.
Here it comes the third time. I'm going to say it's a bird for 10 points.
You got
Yes!
it.
Let's go, Shell Duck! Oh, wow. I'm a genius.
The common shell duck is a waterfowl species of the shell duck genus, Tadorna. It is widespread and common in the Euro-Siberian region of the Palearctic, mainly breeding in temperate and wintering in subtropical regions. In winter, it can also be found in the Maghreb.
Do you
Whatever
even
that
know what you're
is.
reading when you read this bird copy
I
off?
told you I don't read it until I'm
Okay.
doing it. All right, Ben, you got 12 points.
Hey.
Because we decided shell duck was worth 10. But
Yeah.
honestly, I'm proud of you. 3 times a charm
God.
on shell duck.
I still don't believe it's a bird, but
It's a
whatever.
bird.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this
Oh.
episode. That was Birder Boy. What a classic.
Classic game, yeah.
Thank you all for being with us this week. Happy holidays. And we will be back next week. Watch the movie with us. What's it called again, Ben? Battlefield Baseball?
Battlefield
Is it-
Baseball. Yeah, check the
Battlefield
Twitter
Baseball.
again. I tweeted out the trailer. I'll probably just tweet out the link to watch it free on YouTube as well, just to make lives easier. But yeah, it's free on YouTube. Watch it with us. If not, we're going to talk about it. I'm sure there'll be some other baseball stuff to talk about. But yeah, happy holidays and be safe and travel safe and all that good stuff. And Bob White.
Bob White. And
Bob
until
White.
next week, shell duck.
Bob White.